Okay, wow. The Warner Brothers is really trying to push the Flash movie and trying to really promote this movie as being a great movie. Now, I don't know if they're doing this because since James Gunn announced the DCU and how certain movies are not fitting into his plans and certain characters, that like Shazam tanked and they're blaming it on that. They are really pushing this movie. Now, it could be because of that, or it could be because Ezra, well, they they definitely need, at the very least, therapy, and they need to be held accountable for their crimes. And so they are just really pushing this movie. So they showed the movie at CinemaCon. And now this piece that was posted in Deadline, it's a hype piece, and like I said, I don't know, this doesn't sound like it's that great. I mean, maybe the movie is as great as these people are saying, but it kind of sounds more like they're trying to make up for the fact that, well, since James Gunn mentioned the DCU and put out his slate, and they're really trying to push this, even though this movie is actually supposed to lead into the DCU by rebooting everything. So they're really going all in this movie, and they basically let Shazam go under a bus. So I personally don't think that they're pushing this movie because they're hoping that people will watch it because, they don't want the flop that Shazam was or that Black Adam was. I think it's more of they were they were just counting their losses with those movies, and because this is basically rebooting and allowing James Gunn's GCU to start up, I think that's why they're pushing this movie. Plus the fact that, because of all the problems Ezra's been having, that they're keeping a criminal in the lead role. So they're trying to push this movie so the people, the naysayers about Ezra will, be seen to be fools. Whereas I'm all for that Ezra is getting therapy. They obviously need help. However, um, you know, was this done court ordered, or was this just because the studios did this? Because if it's just the studio, I'm sorry. Jonathan Majors did, to my knowledge, one potentially bad thing. And he's going through the justice system, and Ezra just has to go through therapy. Now, if Jonathan Majors did do what he's accused of, then obviously he needs to go to therapy as well. That he shouldn't be rotting in a prison cell necessarily. However, depending on what exactly happened. However, he's going through the justice system and Ezra isn't. I don't blame people for screaming racism, because that's quite a difference. It's not like Ezra didn't beat people. That was one of the charges, was assault. So yeah. But anyway, let me get to the article. So let me just read this whole thing. Warner Brothers has no worries in The Flash. The studio knew it had the goods on the DC Multiverse movie, which brings together Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton's Batman's, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, which I didn't know she was in this movie, Michael Shannon's General Zod, and a new Supergirl in Sasha Calle, and boldly premiered the movie Tuesday night at a CinemaCon Las Vegas to a packed house and tons of cheers. Now, again, this is the only movie that I'm aware of that they're doing this for. They aren't doing this for Aquaman 2, to my knowledge, or maybe they're going to do it later in the weekend or something. But so far, this is the only movie they're giving this treatment to, so they're really pushing it hard. Now, again, probably it's a combination of, this is launching the DCU, with the fact that a lot of people probably don't want to watch it because of all the crap that Ezra has pulled. And I don't blame them. And plus the fact that his Justice League treatment, I wasn't that impressed with him as the Flash. I really wasn't. So, and I watched the director's cut, Zack Snyder's cut, and the Franken movie that was actually released. I wasn't that impressed with Ezra. Maybe because I watched too much of Grant Gustin's Barry Allen. Definitely prefer him. He was much more natural. Because, yes, Ezra's Flash was supposed to be comedy, but so was Grant Gustin. In many cases, he did a lot of comedy, and it was so much more natural. Definitely prefer his version. So, now, I really hope of what trailers I've seen, I hope they keep Sasha Calle, or Calais, however you pronounce her name, as Supergirl. She seemed like she had that edgy tone to her, which apparently this new Supergirl is supposed to have. So hopefully she stays on. Anyway, let's see. In a box office year that's up 37% to date over 2022 with $2.5 billion, exhibitors after the screening were already smelling the money after the screen faded to black. More tentpoles were here to get 2023 to a $9 billion box office year statewide. Said Vue Cinema's boss Tim Richards about The Flash, I absolutely loved it. It's got heart, it's got soul, you care about the character, it's going to be big, it's great to see the whole Warner Brothers slate, including comedies, horror, and DC, everything that our audiences are desperate for. It's one of the best DC films ever made, said one studio dine-in chair exhibitor, echoing the early sentiment of DC boss James Gunn, who was heralding the Andy Muschietti-directed Ezra Miller title as probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, and one that resets the DC universe. This is so reading like a press release. It really, really is. I mean, like I said, maybe it is that good, but such adulation, it's just, I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. Said Kentucky-based exhibitor Rick Roman tonight, the audience loved it. I thought it was very good. Lots of humor. Emotional at the end with some people crying. I like how they brought in Batman to support the Flash. Smart move. The movie will have legs since people will see it more than once. Now, the people were crying at the end. This article, I read the comments and people were mocking that. But maybe there was. Maybe they're going to kill off this Barry Allen. Maybe they're going to bring in an older character that we didn't expect. Who knows? Who knows what? There could be all sorts of reasons that they're crying. Maybe they brought in Grant Gustin. And he's going to either be the new Flash of this DCU or just simply paying off Ezra's cameo in Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths. Who knows why they were crying? To date, the biggest opening for a DC Warner Brothers film belongs to 2016's Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice on a global basis with $422.5 million, as well as domestic with $166 million. The highest grossing DC movie of all time belongs to James Wan's Aquaman in 2018 at $1.1 billion, followed by Todd Phillips' R-rated Joker in 2019 with $1.7 billion. Deadline spoke with AMC CEO Adam Aron before we all sat down for The Flash tonight in Las Vegas. And by tonight, I mean last night. This article came out last night. Still, the circuit boss smelled a hit after Warner Brothers' robust 2-hour presentation earlier in the day. I'm excited about the whole slate, he beamed, stoked that the Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav is aiming for a 20 theatrical release a year. Wow. Said Aaron, that's music to my ears. The Flash was delayed due to the post-production logjam of the pandemic, but is finally seeing the light of day June 16th. I'm pretty sure it wasn't just the pandemic that was the cause of this. During that time, as Zaslav took the reins of the studio in the newly merged Warner Brothers Discovery, the Pix lead star Miller made headlines with a slew of reported altercations as well as a liquor robbery at a Vermont neighbor's house. Miller apologized for their behavior and met up with newly crowned Warner Brothers bosses Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi to make good with the studio. Again, no mention of this being put through the justice system, which irks me to no end. Yes, I'm a big advocate of a lot of these people need some sort of therapy or some sort of help. However, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't go through the criminal justice system. The fact that he isn't, but Jonathan Majors isn't sitting well with me at all. The option to send this $200 million production straight to the studio streaming service, Max, wasn't in the cards. Zaslav is a firm believer in theatrical downstream revenues. DC bosses Gunn and Peter Safran updated the press in January that Miller was progressing well and that the door remains for a TBD sequel, though one hasn't been announced. And I wonder how much of this is that they don't want to spoil the ending of The Flash, more so than the door is really open. I really wonder how much of this press is just, let's get this over with, let's really push this movie, get people to see it, and understand James Gunn's vision, which doesn't include Ezra anymore because, well, you know, he did a lot of stupid shit. A lot of criminal shit. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that's the case because as much as I believe in second chances, he still has to be held accountable. Nobody's talking about the victims in these cases. They're just talking about him getting the help he needs, which he needs. What did I say? He? They. But what about the victims? I mean, I just don't understand how this is happening. Anyway, Muschietti today during Warner Brothers CinemaCon presentation praised the tabloid-laden Miller, that's being very nice, saying that they're one of the best actors I've ever worked with, every tool in the toolkit. Miller is an incredible comedian and is all the action required for a big spectacle like this. Okay, I'm not seeing it so far, but like I said, I think they're hyping this because they want people to see the movie. Plus, I'm hoping that this is also to not screw his career and make sure that other people will want to work with him after he's inevitably dropped. That's what I'm hoping for. Despite Miller's riffraff, really, offset, other filmmakers had heralded the actor's work ethic and talent. Really, is that why he just took off? Because he's got great work ethic? And he like just disappeared? Nobody could find him because he's got such work ethic? Okay. I guess his work ethic extends to running from the law. I guess. At the Toronto Film Festival last fall, Dayland director Mary Harmon told Deadline that Miller arrived on set to my amazement with a complete workout performance. The actor even insisted that the lines be done in French where required. Okay. Heron at the time told us Miller's one of the greatest actors I worked with, and I hope he gets the help the actor needs. Which I do too. However, he has not yet been held accountable for his criminal behavior. It's great that he's also getting therapy, but the victims get squat? What? I mean, unless this was done with law enforcement, with the justice system, okay, if the victims were okay with this arrangement, fine, but nothing? Really? No mention? And riffraff? Really? I realize that there's only so many adjectives you can mention for criminal behavior, but riffraff I wouldn't be on top of my list. Not at all. Deadline's chief film critic Pete Hammond had the following to say about The Flash tonight. Just saw the first ever public screening of The Flash at CinemaCon. It is a dazzling trip through time as the DC Universe indeed flashes before our eyes. Not just a great new addition to DC, but a wild and surprising tribute to what came before. A triumph for Ezra and Keaton's return. And he ends with CinemaCon version of The Flash was work in progress. No end credits. Might there still be an additional scene or two to see when it opens in June? Which is possible. They probably don't want to give everything away. They probably want to give people, even those who watched the advanced screening, a reason to go pay to see the movie. But, yeah, I just, like I said, they want to hype this up twofold again because of all that happened with Black Adam and Shazam, they don't want the same to happen with this movie, but at the same time they also know, at least I hope they're aware that a lot of people don't want to see a movie with Ezra Miller in it because of his crimes. Their crimes. And I just, yeah, I can't wait to see when people start, actual people, not people who have a skin in the game, just people who want to go see a movie, whether it's because they're DC fans, Flash fans, or just casual fans, what they have to say, because this is being hyped so much that I find it hard to believe that it's that good. Like I said, maybe it is. Maybe it's the best thing that's ever happened, but I'm just I just don't see that happening. Anyway, that's all I have for this video, and I will see you guys next time.